Hey you guys, welcome back to my channel. It's me. Hello, how are you? So today's video is going to be a bit long just because I actually want to be able to sit down and chitter chat about a couple things and support one of my friends. Stay tuned to the end to see that. Say I'm just doing something a little, I'm not gonna say casual because you wouldn't wear this every day, but I really just wanted to play in some makeup, just chill, talk, do a kind of long-ish video, a more in-depth tutorial of how I do things. Yeah, that's what this video is. I'm super excited because this is my first video filming with my new beauty setup. I'll probably insert a picture here or here, and so you guys can see the full thing of how it looks now. Like I said, this is the first video I shot with it, so things are a bit awkward. That's because I'm still learning things. I just learned how to put my camera screen onto my MacBook screen so I can have something to look at. So that was nice. A nice new thing to learn. You see me looking at this angle a lot. That's what I'm looking at, is my monitor, and then I have my mirror right here. These are all kind of going in motion, looking good. I feel like a professional now. This is fun. But yeah, before I start the video and get into it, make sure you hit that subscribe button down below and then press the bell notification button as well so you can keep being notified about new uploads. And I keep looking at myself because I really like how all this came together. Without further ado, let's go ahead and start the video. Alright, so starting in with a zoomed in face, go ahead and take the Milani Prime Perfection face primer, and I'm going to use this. I've honestly been using this as my go-to primer lately just because I really like the way it performs and it's nice and hydrating so my skin doesn't get super dry or anything under foundation. So just rubbing that all in, all over the face and neck, just to make sure that everything is nice and primed. And then I also jump into the FARSÁLI Skintune Blur. I honestly just use this in on my nose. I use just a little bit right around here, and then put it a little bit on my nose, pretty much just keeping it all right there. It looks a bit interesting, I know, but we're keeping this channel PG-13 because I do cuss every now and then. And then just rubbing that in. And what the FARSÁLI does is it really just helps, again, hydrate the skin underneath and keep it nice and moisturized, and it also helps blur out my huge pores, which Lord knows I have. Jumping into foundation today, I'm going to be taking the Too Faced Born This Way foundation in the color shade, whatever you want to say, golden. And then I just pump, oh my god, I'm running out. Dump some on the back of my hand. And today I'm going to go back to an old favorite. I'm going to be using the Fenty Beauty foundation, the Fenty Beauty 110 foundation brush. Looks like this. It's a little bit dirty on the handle because life. And I always start right under my nose, or next to it, I should say, and blending outwards. And then usually whatever's left on the sides of my face, I then bring onto my nose. Just because your nose really, or at least mine, since I have oily combination skin, my nose really gets oily, really oily. So usually where makeup tends to break up the fastest. So I try to put as little product on my nose just so it doesn't become like a greasy mess. So. And so to conceal, I'm going to be taking Too Faced Born This Way multi-use sculpting concealer in the shade Warm Beige. And because Warm Beige is a bit light, I'm just going to be placing a little bit right under the eyes. And with whatever's left, just kind of blend it into this little shape on my forehead and a little dot on my chin. Highlight those areas in a way. And then I'm going to be taking the Fenty Beauty Matchsticks Matte Skin Stick in the color Truffle, and we'll be using that as a contour. Just a little bit right there, some to reduce the forehead, and a little bit on the chin, or jawline actually, just to give myself a jawline, or an even one, or more defined jawline. And then I always just jump in right away with this little Real Techniques brush. I don't know, expert face brush. It's tiny. It was like 10 bucks. And I just use that to blend out the contour. And honestly, just to contour my nose, I take like a small angled brush like this, and I just put a little bit of the contour stuff, and I just go along just the top of my nose, just to kind of make that a little bit thinner, just because my nose is like really weirdly shaped. And I just keep the contour like here, even brushing off some of it, and I just kind of I keep my nose contour to a minimum now. I don't know why, it's just kind of the thing I do to kind of sculpt out this nose. I'm bringing a little bit whatever's left from the top down to bulb of my nose and just blending that out a little bit further. I don't know. I have a crooked nose, so that's always going to be a thing. But anyways, now letting your concealer sit for a little bit is actually going to help it dry down, and I mean, duh. But the reason why you want to dry down your concealer a little bit is because it gives you actually a little bit more coverage, and it makes blending it out a little bit easier. So I take my Juno & Co. microfiber sponge, and yeah, I just go ahead and start slowly blending from the inside going out. So I just bounce back a little bit slowly, because this is a very light color. In a way, like, it's really used just to highlight. So take just a little bit at a time, and even just going onto like a towel or something, or like a tissue, and dusting off as I go, just to give myself a fresh and newer application. Bring it onto the lid as well, even though we're gonna prime the lid anyways, but just still gotta do it. So go ahead and just blend out the concealer, and then of course bringing it to like the side of the nose and whatnot, but keeping it relatively in a controlled area. Yeah, just blend it out. Now once that's all kind of, what's the word, blended out, lately I've been really loving this Too Faced Peach Perfect setting powder. It's mattifying, so try to use it lightly, but it's this nice finely milled peach pinkish colored powder. So I just go ahead, and to do my under eye, put a little bit on my sponge, and I just place it. I look up as I place it, but I just kind of stamp it under the eye just a little bit, so it's not too cakey and like baking, and just kind of push that in, and that kind of helps tone everything down. Going just a little bit at a time, even dusting some on the back of your hand, and then placing it right along the under eye, just so that the concealer under it can not crease as much. The sponge has two sides. It has like a flatter side, and it has like a round side, of course. So taking like the flatter side, take that, and I'll put that along that part of my nose to prevent that from creasing, and I actually let that sit for a little bit. This powder does have a very strong scent to it, so if you're sensitive to smells, do be careful. And it honestly, if it gets in your mouth, have like a taste to it, so even with that, be careful. And then when it's all in those places, I just take like a sort of fluffyish brush, and I then just kind of buff it into my entire face, just to kind of set everything in place. See how it kind of gives the skin like this nice smoothing effect to it? That's what we love to see. So just blending it and kind of buffing it into the skin to help set everything in place. And then honestly, when I do my eyebrows, because I kind of barely do them, I just take a spoolie and I just clean them up, kind of line them like brush them up and out, kind of just revive them from under this foundation powders and whatnot, and I just spoolie them out. And then I take this Anastasia Beverly Hills brow tint, I think it's called, tinted brow gel. This is in the shade Chocolate, or the color Chocolate, and I just lightly kind of go over my brows to give them some color, some life back to them. Now this is like a really light brown, so it's not going to do too much, but it is going to add like a nice little noticeable amount of tint to my brows, just to give the brows a little bit of color. And then before starting the eyes, just give the face a little bit of setting spray, kind of refresh everything and keep everything fresh looking. And so today, to prime my lid, I'm actually going to be using the Smashbox lid primer, just because I haven't used it in a long time, and I really don't like using concealer. Yeah, whatever it's called. Or prime my lid. So once that's all nice and primed, I take just a little bit of my translucent powder and I dust that on top just to make sure it stays in place. Even though a lid primer should stay in place anyways, we just want to make sure. Now we're going to be jumping into our palette of the day, which is going to be the Jackie Aina x Anastasia Beverly Hills palette, banger, of course, love it. I'm gonna go ahead and start with this brush, if it zooms, focuses, this brush, the Juno & Co. ES07. I'm gonna go ahead and use the color Ginger as my base transition color. Taking Ginger, tapping off excess, and placing that right on the outside, and then blending out. So now taking a smaller sort of blending brush, I'm going to jump into the color Edges just to give the eyes some definition and yeah, kind of contour out my eyeball and start that whole process. Pretty much being placed right on top of where I put Ginger, and it's just being used to help darken up the area. Jumping into my very first brush that I used, I'm going to go back into Ginger and just kind of lighten and smooth out the outside of this, just to keep a nice blend going. And then just for good measure, taking a clean blending brush and sweeping along the outside and cleaning it off every time you jump in between eyes. Just again, my camera stopped recording and I have no idea where it stopped, so let's hope it captured something good. But if it didn't capture whatever that I think it didn't, I use Pat McGrath Mini Palette and Mini Palette and Ecstasy Sublime, and I've been using the color Corruption. So yeah, cleaning off that lid brush, I'm now going to jump into the same Pat McGrath, and I'm going to be using the color Gold Nectar and just placing a little bit, tapping it off, placing a little bit in the center of my lid and just keeping it just in the center. So just right here. Yeah, I like that color. I've used that color before. Really like it. And then going back into our handy dandy very first brush, back into the color Ginger, just dusting or sweeping that all around the edges. And for an inner corner highlight, I think I want to be using this little bad boy here. I'm going to be using the color Wigglies. I'm going to place that as my inner corner highlight. Another sort of small brush. I'm going to take Ginger and just put that all over my lower lash line. So now that that's all done, I'm going to go take the Grande Cosmetics mascara. I don't know why I keep putting my mirror down. Alright, so now that that's the eyes done, let's just go ahead and zoom out and finish the face. So for bronzer, I always take a fat angled brush, and I'm going to be using the Wander Beauty Trip for Two bronzer and blush duo, and I'm going to use the color Tulum, which is this one. I'm using that to bronze my face. Then with a blush brush, I'll be taking the color Daiquiri, and because it's such a strong one, I'm just going to be using a little bit and placing that as blush. So it actually has to do with blush too. I take a little bit and just put it on the tip of my nose and even just kind of tap it out with my finger. And so yeah, now all that's left is some setting spray. So for the lips, I'm going to be taking another Fenty Beauty gloss. This is from that same Glossy Posse. This is the color Pretty Please. That's to go with the pink on my shirt and like a little bit of Wigglies. It has like pink reflex in it, so it'll all tie together. Alright, so to kind of finish everything off, because this is the final makeup look, this is how everything is looking. I have a friend, he has his own business and it's a clothing line in San Antonio, and I wanted to give him a quick shout out and use one of his beanies. This is his beanie. It's like this burgundy color, and this one, I have two of them. Yeah, it's a black owned business in San Antonio, Texas, goes by the name of Try Another Angle. The backstory to this is actually very sweet and it's kind of like heartwarming. I'm not 100% sure if he wants me to give the details of it, so I'm just gonna go ahead and leave his information down below. His brand is kind of more of a casual streetwear kind of line. Really cute pieces, really nice things. I don't want to say cute because like a gender neutral thing. So really nice things. I highly suggest checking him out. Prices are not super skyrockety high. They're actually really affordable. And this is my way of saying support a black business, and he's one of my followers, really good friend of mine. I'll leave every single detail of information down below of how to contact him and get in touch if you want to support a black owned brand and business. So yeah, I'm just gonna go ahead and throw this beanie on and just wear it for today to kind of complete my look. So thank you so much for watching today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I wanted to switch it up and kind of show you guys my base routine as well as just the eye, like not doing just the eyes like I usually do. I want to show you guys the whole base routine and kind of how I do from step 1 to step whatever the hell. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys all in the next video.